Hey everybody, Jed with Jed Demlow Productions coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to do a 5-part tutorial on this new production that I just did for a Steel Ivory release. You can check it out on Spotify, iTunes. It's called Thank God for That. I'm going to break it down into 5 parts: drums, bass, guitars, keys, and finally save the best part for last, the vocals. Let's get started today with the mix on the drums. Okay, hey everybody, we're here in Studio 1.5. I'm doing this on a production I just did for Steel Ivory, Nashville female vocal group. It's called Thank God for That. You can check it out on Spotify or iTunes. We're just going to go ahead and start taking a look at the drums. Today I want to cover not only the mix, but also just a little bit about kind of how I did the drums as well. And hopefully that will help some of you beginners and intermediate mixers a little bit. Find something you can use. So what I did was I broke the drum part down into 2 sections. There's an 808 and a clap section. You can hear that there. And then there's an acoustic drum section, which was played by a live drummer, Casey Todd, here in Nashville. So let's take a look at the 808 part first, and we'll just kind of break it down track by track. This is just going to be unedited, so it might be a little rough in spots. Basically, the 808 kick here. Take a look at that. You can hear it. I'm using Console 1 by Softtube. I'll show you a picture of it. You can see the EQ that I have on this. Let's take a look at that. This is the SSL 4000 emulation. And you can see that I cranked up quite a bit of high end on that kick. Let me turn this up just a little bit. There we go. You should really be able to hear that now. If I pull that high end out, you can hear that it was a little bit muddier than I wanted it to be. I did pull out just a tiny bit of the lows, and I dipped it at 100 because I knew that this is where my bass was going to sit. Okay, so I dipped the kick on the 808 out a little bit, and then that gives me room to bump my bass at 100 if I want to. Okay, so there's that. I wanted a click. So there's a click part here. This gives me an 808 clicky, kind of a little punchy thing. I used the same EQ on that. Brought up the highs, dipped it at 100, cut out the extreme lows on that 808 kick. So if you hear the 2 together, it gives me a nice, just enough thump. Now remember, this is a verse, so I didn't want it to be, like really killing. Here's the clap. Let's take a listen to that. Now here again, what I like to do is I like to roll off all the stuff that I don't want to hear. Okay, get rid of the mud in any of the tracks or any of the low end that you don't need. I don't need any of this area down here, so I went ahead and rolled it out. Let's see what it sounds like without it. Now, if you're listening on headphones, and I hope you are, you can really hear a lot of that noise and low muddiness that was going on in that clap that I used a high-pass filter, and I just got rid of it. And then again, I tweaked it up here at the top, and let's see what the difference is. Starting to right around 2K, I brought it up. Okay, a little dull. And I wanted that to pop a little bit. Some love. Okay, let's go ahead and turn those vocals off so that we can just hear the music. That right there is a great example of why you want to bus all of your tracks to, separate them. Like the vocals are all on a bus, the drums are all on a bus, the keys, the guitars, they're all on a separate bus. So if you want to just
Forever.
want to mute all of your vocals,
But I guess
you can just hit one button and boom, you're done. So beginners, that's why you want a bus like tracks, like all of your vocals to a bus, all of your guitars to a bus. It gives you great control when you're mixing. Okay, so let's go back here. There's a clap. Okay, so that sounds nice. Then I got hi-hat. And again, I rolled off the stuff that I don't need. Let's listen to what it sounds like down here. Not much difference. Pretty clean. We probably had a filter engaged when we recorded that part. And again, I just bumped up the high end to give it a little crispness. So here on the verse, I just have the 808, the hi-hat, and the clap. So that's pretty much that. And then when you get to the chorus on this, it opens up into acoustic drums. Let's take a look at that kick first. You can see where everything's happening on that kick pretty much between 50 and 100, a lot of it. Not a whole lot up here. I didn't really do anything. Actually, I didn't do anything on the EQ at the kick. I just loved the way it sounded. Left it alone. Used a little gain on this. For whatever reason, I decided to do that. So, in the mix. What I did was I had a live drummer play the chorus, and then I put all of that into Superior Drummer 3. And then I used all the sounds from Superior Drummer 3 to mix in with the overheads of the real drums, which I used most of the sounds from Superior Drummer 3. That's why it sounds really good, needs very little EQ, if any, because the samples are already EQ'd and sound great in a mix. Let's take a listen to the snare. Here's the snare top. You can hear all of his little grace notes. That's the great thing about using, a live drummer. Anytime you can use the real deal, it's great. You can see where I gave it just a tiny little bump right there at 200. That's where the main part of the top was happening. Again, the sounds were really good, so I don't need to do much. Here's the snare bottom. That sounds really nice the way it is. The two together. Okay, and then I did add a separate sample, but this is from Superior Drummer 3. This is kind of a deep snare sample. It sounds great as is. So if we listen, all three of them sounded really nice. I bust all of the snares to a bus so I could control them separately. And here's where I did a little bit. Okay, I cut out all of the low end mud that I didn't want to hear with the high pass filter. You can see that. And then I gave it just a very gentle bump here from 2 all the way up to 20K, just adding a little crispness and air on the snares. Then I also wanted to tighten them up a little. So I put on the API 2500 bus compressor. This is a UAD plugin. It sounds great. Try it on anything, but great on drums, great on vocals. I also like it a lot on keys. So what I wanted to do with this, and the reason why I employed this onto this bus, is because I wanted to bring those grace notes in the snare out a little bit. So let's check it out. You can hear the da-da-da. Okay, so turn it off. They're not quite as present. They're not quite as clean and articulate. You can see where I just brought up the threshold enough, so I'm just touching it. I don't want a lot, don't need a lot. It's a slow attack, so it's not killing the transient. Okay, and a fast release, just a little bit of gain, makeup gain. If I take it out, let's listen. That's with, out, with. Just gave it that nice little edge that I wanted. It's with, out. Now, all of these moves are very gentle. You don't need a lot of times. If you got great sounding drums, you don't want to go crazy with the EQ. Just little tiny touches is all you need to make them sound really good. So, didn't have much going on with the toms on this. Let's take a look at the overheads, though. Take a listen. Here you can really hear the live drums. Take a look at the. Just left it alone. And I just have this mixed in there so that it complements. There you can hear the difference. Let's listen to just the Superior Drummer 3 drums. Here's the live drums mixed in. So the two together sound really nice. Okay, let's take a look. It looks like I also used I put some reverb on the snare. Let's see what's going on there. Turn it off. Pretty dry. Turn it on. And let's look at what I did. I used a PSP 2445, which I love this. If you don't have any of the PSP plugins, you would check them out. I really like the medium hall on drums. And this time, I kept the decay on it relatively short. The mix is cranked all the way up because you're just going to use the send to control how much you're actually going to put on the snares, which is over here is where I controlled it. Now, also, you can see where I put an EQ in after the reverb. Okay, so what I did was I've got reverb plug in, then I put an EQ after it because I wanted to get rid of all that low end here. Okay, so I didn't want to hear any of that stuff. Let's turn it off. Hear all that boom? I didn't want that. Got rid of it. That just gives me that nice airy reverb off the top. Okay. There we go. So that's how I did that. I just added a little bit of reverb to the snare, not enough to kill it, but just enough so it's sitting in there good. Take a look at this. Now this is, I'll open this up so you can see it. This is Superior Drummer 3. If you're using MIDI drums or programming drums and you're doing any kind of more of an acoustic type sounding music, I would highly recommend Superior Drummer 3 because this thing is great. I haven't found anything that sounds better. So it looks like it's going to take my hard drive just a second to bring this up. There we go. So you can see, you know, I have all of these all of these drums here at my disposal. Okay, it looks like I just pretty much used kick and snare. And I used, on the kick, I used 2 different kicks. I used that nice. And then I used a clicky low end, like a sub. And I just mixed that in, so it gets, you get the 2 of them together. Sounds nice. The snare, I have 2 different snares in there. So, yeah, this is a great program for you to check out. And that's how I did that. What I did was I took the live drums, and it's got this tracker. You can see them there where I imported the drums. Just drag the file right in. And it analyzes each track: kick, snare, bottom, snare, hi-hat, the rack, the floor, whatever was used, overheads. It analyzes everything for you. And then it breaks it down into these drums and plays it back with these samples or whatever samples you want to choose. You can use those. So it's just amazingly powerful. And that's how I did that. So if we take just a little listen. 808 drums at the beginning. It's got a nice kick, just enough bottom. I got a shaker in there. Let's check out the shaker. Here it is. Take a listen to that. And let's see what I did with that. I've got the console on it, but I probably didn't do anything there. I usually do it early in the production. You can see where I cut out a ton of low end. Hear all that? There it's gone. And I did cut just a little bit of the highs because I didn't want it to be too fizzy up there on top. So it's interesting. I've got the live drums that I used on the overheads for the crashes and hi-hats and all that, and that sounds great. But then I also have the room here. Now this is Superior Drummer. This is not the actual live drums. This is Superior Drummer will give you a room. It'll also give you a comp mic, you know, that's really squished with a compressor. So I got that, and then there's the compression room, and that sounds great. You can really hear how that's, you know, it's great for doing like a parallel type thing where you don't even have to make a copy of the track. You can just crank up this comp track that you get. So here's the room and the compression together. And then if I add in my overheads, that gives me a great starting point. Bring in the others. You can really hear that now. Okay, so that gives you a great combination of stuff to work with right there. Superior Drummer 3 and a live drummer. Use them in conjunction. And then that's what I do. And that's the way I'm producing right now. And it works well for me. So the Soft Tube Console 1 is just really great to work with. It gives you knobs that you can just reach out and grab just as if it was, you know, a real console. So you kind of feel like you're working on a SSL 4000, you know, without having to spend $80,000. So check out Soft Tube Console 1 if you're getting tired of just using the mouse all the time and you just want to be able to grab some knobs and twist and turn until you get it right. Okay, so that's the basics on how I did the mix and some of the production techniques on this new release from Steel Ivory out of Nashville. It's called Thank God for That. Check it out on iTunes, Spotify. If you have questions, please leave them below. And as always, please subscribe to the channel. If you need help with anything specific that I touched on today, just message me and I'll get back with you and try to help you out with that. Everybody have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank God for that.